Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. I'm Michael Chu. I also have Sunil in the background. This is a market recap video for the week of November 22nd, 2024. Just 1 week before the Thanksgiving next week in the US and also Black Friday. So hopefully, everyone will be able to enjoy that. In terms of this market week, overall, it's a healthy week. The Nasdaq you see here is up. It did bounce back, so from the week before the losses. However, Nasdaq is probably not the strongest index right now. So we are in the 11 weeks trend right here. Uh, Last time we had 12 weeks here, then 21, and then 19. So generally, it's about 14 to 18 weeks on average for a rally. So we're getting closer and closer to the average. We look at the daily chart here. So we can see the last week we closed pretty bad right here. Then we bounced back, but it wasn't like smooth selling, at least not for Nasdaq. And you can see Wednesday we got tested again, and then Thursday we came back up again, and then Friday it barely moved. So we kind of stuck around the 10-day moving average, which is kind of weird. Um, and we tested the 21-day moving average many times right here. So that could be a good thing, especially after so many days of testing. So there is support. So it's possible Nasdaq could gain traction uh, this coming week. We'll see. Especially after that 4 days of support on the low side. When looking at the equal weight Nasdaq, you can see it's much stronger. We already passed the 10-day. Right, very similar behavior, found support at the lows of those days here, Monday to Wednesday. Thursday, it actually moved way above that line. Friday, we followed through. So that's a good sign because that means, when we talk about equal weight, it means more participants in the marketplace rather than your big cap tech companies there. And you can see the RS line also, I think it's probably near high or new high. So but overall, this index hasn't been performing as strong as other index. So just want to bring that up. So tech stocks are still lagging other areas in general. Looking at S&P 500 here, very similar chart, right? Last week we the week before we dropped, and then this week we kind of gained back a little bit. On the daily chart, you can see this one also looked better than Nasdaq, right? Because it moved back above the green line, which is the 10-day moving average. So again, here we test the low near the 21-day many times. So Nasdaq could follow this pattern next week. So we'll see, but it's definitely lagging, right? That's what I'm trying to point out here on the Nasdaq versus S&P. And this is Dow weekly chart. Look at Dow; it's pretty strong. It's almost near new high again, and it found support here. So let's go look at the daily. So here you go. We found support at the short-term moving average, and then we bounce, and we are pretty close to the new highs here. So for Russell, we have tested 2300 now, right there, and you can see it came back here, and then it bounced this week from here. So now 2300 might be good to go. And then now we're heading towards the all-time high, 2450 roughly, and we're not that far away. So, and even though Russell had a strong week, you can see how how steep that slope is. So now we're coming back to the 2400 level once more, and we're going to be testing this level now, which is again we're in close to new high. 2458 is the new high, and last time we fell on that 2441. And if we pass that level, this could be very bullish for small caps. And again, people like Tom Lee has mentioned that he's very bullish on small caps. And who knows, maybe this is it. This is the one that actually work and take off, right? Again, 2300 level. I think we have tested this right here. You can see 4 days of testing the lows here, and then it bounced. So small caps might have a lot more room to run. So David Ryan make a tweet this Thursday, I think, about mid-cap stocks showing lots of strength, and here's a good indication of that. So we broke out right here, and then we pull back, then we bounce off really strong, make new high. Then the week before we pull back again, and then we found support this week, and look at what happened. It make a new high. So this index is making new high before every other index. So mid cap is actually strong right now. So I think he suggests an ETF or something, right? Anyhow, so here's the pullback, and look at this bounce, so strong, and it make new high on Friday. So so definitely lots of eyes on this. This is really good for the market because there's a lot of mid cap stocks in S&P, and also that bodes well for anyone who doesn't want to, who wants to invest in more like, I don't know, five. I don't know what's considered mid cap in this case, but roughly for me it's like 5 to 10 billion, or even slightly less than five. 5 to 15, even 20 billion, something like that. So this is a really good sign for the health general market. So this is the S&P 500 here. This chart. This is from the IBD, Investors Business Daily newspaper. And then we have New York Stock Exchange advanced decline daily line right here. So on Friday you can see 1,700 stocks up, 500 stocks down, and this line here, advanced decline line, shows how many stocks up versus down. And look at now it's like bouncing back. So we have like early in the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it was flatlining. It was coming down from the previous week, and then Thursday, Friday, we start to move up again. So that's a really good sign. And if the market continue to broaden in terms of breadth, this could continue, right, going. And yeah, we'll see. On the Nasdaq side, a little bit weaker. As you can see, we make a new low early in the week, Monday and Tuesday. Last Friday, we also down here, Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday was flat as well. And then Thursday and Friday pick up as well. So yeah, so where is, also a good indication that it pick back up. We'll see. So where are we in the overall market? We are still in confirmed uptrend. IBD still suggests 80 to 100% allocation. There's no distribution days this week, so that's good. Last week we had two, so that's a good sign. So early in the week, again, the market was kind of flat or down, and from the accumulation distribution point, we saw more distribution in stocks and also in the industry groups. Then by Thursday, we start to bounce back, and Friday as well get stronger. On the sector side, again, very weak earlier in the week, except for commodities, which is really interesting. Um, and financial also start to bounce. And then by Thursday and Friday, you can see most groups are in the positive. This is net number of stocks being under accumulated minus net number of stocks under distribution. And so we're seeing pretty, good accumulation again. Not super strong, but we've seen hundreds level here, but healthy. Again, this is net number here. So you can see here there's way more stocks under accumulation here. For those that follow IBD 50 growth stocks, you can see this week the index bounced very strong. So last week we were right here, and then this week we start bouncing above the green line on Tuesday. Wednesday, it found support again at the green line. Thursday, it bounced again, already making new high, and Friday it followed through as well, making new high. And look at those volume. And there's lots of support volume coming in. This is very healthy for growth stocks, and we just broke out this base, and again it broke out, but it fell. Well, depends what you define as fell, where your stop is, but it did pull back. Um, and then it continues on, right? So this is like very healthy, and for a long time, we go to weekly chart, it's been basing. So you see this smaller base here, and then it fell, and then make this larger base. Then we see this handle right here, and then it broke out right here on this week, and then we pull back. Now we reverse and make new high. So again, there's lots of evidence that this market, from a growth perspective, is getting stronger, which is very good sign for growth investors. And this is definitely another sign of that. And we want to continue to see more breadth in the market. Um, And the other area that I monitor myself is the stock list I have. Make sure you guys watch the next video. We're going to go through the growth stocks list that I have, and that number continues to grow as earnings are winding down now. Pretty much most stocks have reported. Yeah, it's a very good list, and make sure you follow that video. So the 10-year you have just stabilize around the 10-day moving average right here, the green line. So that's a good sign. It's not moving too much. It's starting to be more stable. Maybe market will be good with that. And it's under the 4.5 level, which is very important because a lot of analysts out there don't want to see it above 4.5. The US dollar is still very strong. Like Friday actually gap up. So this is interesting. So I don't know this will hurt exports going forward, but this is definitely still very strong. The U.S. oil also bouncing back this week, and we also saw as from that sector accumulation I just showed, there's more energy stocks showing accumulation, so that's also interesting. The oil price, like I said, it did bounce back this week. We're still stuck in this range, right? 75 to 70 range. But the US dollar being strong, um, could be a sign that the oil can continue. But we'll see. It could be stuck in this range too. And US dollar could fall back. We'll see. But I just want to say one more thing. This pattern is not very healthy because it's more like an L-shaped pattern. And it's stuck at the lower half, right? So if it was in the upper half, like trading in the middle area, that would be more healthy. So long term, maybe the picture is still not good. And also, you can see this like trend line right here, right there, like that. Like if I have to draw a middle ground here, and this is the upper channel line, so overall it's still a very unhealthy chart, and we could see more problems. And we know the Trump administration wants lower oil price and energy costs, so this could be there's a limit right on the upside. But we'll see. We look at XLE since we're talking about this right now. We do see a move that is not that's much stronger, and look at how this has moved up really strong. Uh, Never came down to the 10-day. Like this is the closest right here, and this is near breakout point, like pretty close to it. So that's also very surprising given where oil price hasn't really gone too far up yet. So this is might be worth paying attention to. There is some stocks on my list, so we'll go over that as well in the next video. The financial sector make new high Thursday and Friday. It's still like look at how tight this pullback is. Like it barely moved. And then the volume is like dwindling down on the sell side, and then volume came back in on the buy side. So very healthy chart pattern. Yeah, so lots of stocks that I've mentioned many times like Goldman Sachs. I don't own these stocks, but they're pretty healthy. This is near new high. Morgan Stanley near new high. But we'll go through some financial stocks in my stocks video as well. This is consumer discretionary. Had this nice run here, pulls back to the 10-day. Look at how it never want to close on the 10-day or below. And then it tested this multiple times, and now it's moving again. So we might see more strength in that area. Again, lots of travel stocks in that area, Tesla in that area. You can look at Tesla right now. We just talked about it. So you can see nice, look at this tight trading there. It found support at the 10-day, tight trading, then making pretty much a new closing high, very healthy. Look at the selling on the Thursday and Wednesday here. Nobody wants to sell. Very healthy chart. Still might have more room to go. Probably this stock, Netflix, which I touched on last week about because of the Mike Tyson fight and Jake Taper fight with I think the numbers were 60 million live stream at the same time, but overall over 100 million people watch it that weekend. And again, it's been moving up slowly at the beginning, and then it finally took off right here. And on Monday, as I was anticipating that it was going to drop in the morning because there was lots of issues with the live streaming, but overall that day, the stock actually bounced back because overall the story is good, right? Because there were so many people wanting to watch it. So here's the morning drop here at the 15-minute interval, and then after the first hour, by the first half an hour, it already started to bounce, and then you can see it continue. And we had this small test here on the low side, and it continue. And then yeah, it's more flat right now. But overall, it looks like a pretty healthy chart, and it touches the 10-day there, and I did add a position there, and then I slowly move my stops up as it moves slowly away from the 10-day moving average. One area also bounced back is the gold. A lot of gold stocks have bounced back too. So we have the after the election, it felt pretty hard. But then now it's reversing, and not only that, it broke the downtrend line. So that's pretty good. So I think this is pretty healthy right now, and it might give you some opportunity to get in gold stocks because this has been a nice run, and and gold price continue to go all higher. So just one example is a nickel eagle mines. You can see it broke the downtrend line here as well, and now it's above all the short-term moving average, and it's above the red line, which is 50 days. So it looks pretty healthy pullback, and now it's starting to climb on the right side. So the home builders group also building a base. So right now, if the U.S. Treasury start to stabilize on the yield, the long-term yield, maybe this might be a good sign for the home builders to bounce back. Um, so we'll see if that happens. Right now we're still at the bottom half, so that's not for sure yet. But if the yields do come down, the long-term yields, this will definitely have a chance of breaking out, and yeah, this is like a base on base pattern, like quite a lot of base here, and this was the nice run right here. So it's been consolidating quite a bit. Whether it could run more, we'll see. Hard to say. So on Wednesday, the Fed future showed 52% of another point cut at the December meeting. So that's down quite a bit from the 77% a month ago. So this was the news that brought the market down the week before. But market seems to be back on track right now for the rally anyway. So maybe you know there's still some time before that meeting. So who knows? We could have another week or two run before that meeting comes, and then market will get nervous about it. The other problem is the reading. This is a secondary indicator. There's an extreme reading on bulls right now. There's no fear. The investor intelligence newsletter shows 60% bulls level, which is pretty high, and it's the second straight week now. So we have seen tops at this level before. It's a quintillion indicator, meaning the crowd is leaning more bullish. And many stocks are extended, so we'll talk about in the stock video as well. And we'll talk about Nvidia in a second. We'll also talk about Google. Uh, they did suffer Justice Department forcing the company to sell Chrome browser and also end payments to Apple in the internet search deal as part of antitrust. So Apple did fall pretty hard. We'll look at the chart in a second here. There is a IBD Black Friday sale, which is a pretty good deal. And on Friday we have Purchaser Managers Index rose to 55.3, which is higher than October. And we have consumer sentiment also came in just a little bit lower, and the inflation expectation here is 2.6%. Crypto, I think we hit, I don't know, 98,000, very close to 100,000. And we see the news that the SEC Commissioner Gary Gensler is say he will step down. Yeah, I think the general crypto audience don't like him because of his regulation. But yeah, so this is the Bitcoin ETF, Trust ETF. You can see the breakout right here. Pretty strong. It's now up 35% from the breakout right here. So it's still doing really good, close at the top here. For MicroStrategy, it has a really strong run. You can see it did suffer a pullback on Thursday. This is a pretty ugly reversal. And then Friday, there's some buyers coming in to try to, hoping this is the bottom. This chart starting to look like parabolic, and you can see it does look parabolic if you draw the lines along the tops here and also along the lows. Whether this is the end of this run, hard to say. I think there was some secondary offerings. I think that was the bad news, and more shares will be diluted. But yeah, it is possible that it will bounce if the Bitcoin continues to run, right? But whether this has hit this highs on the high, that's no one really knows. But I think we're pretty close, unless Bitcoin go up like a lot more, which I don't think, at least not in the short term. I think the Bitcoin will go up to around 100K or past it, 105 or even as much as 110 before it settles. And probably again, it needs to digest because it has a huge gain already. But who knows, right? Bitcoin is another very speculative area. It could, if it passed 100, some people say go to 150 right away. Like I have no idea. It could run wow, and it's possible. But this is getting very speculative now. The risk. I mean, there's still reward. If it can go up to 150, that's another 50% for Bitcoin, and this stock could also follow that. So we'll see. Very interesting. So for next week, we have Thanksgiving, inflation data, and Fed minutes. Consumer confidence, home sales out on Tuesday. Fed meeting minutes also come out on Tuesday. Wednesday, we see personal consumption expenditure price index data for October. This is important because the Fed follow this inflation. Headline PCE is rising 2.3% year over year, and core PCE is at 2.8%, up slightly. We have earnings news from Dell, Best Buy, and Macy's. So the big anticipation news for this week was obviously Nvidia. They did really well on the numbers, but the stock didn't really move. We'll look at the chart in a second here. And we just look at the semiconductor group here. It didn't go down much further this week, but you have to kind of look at this from a relative standpoint. The week before we had a pretty big drop, and this week we bounced a little bit, but not enough to go back above the 10-day line, which I find very disappointing. So to me, again, we're starting to see this like almost like an L-shaped pattern, and you can see that very obvious on the relative strength line as well. That's not usually a good thing, right? So we start to see this L-shaped formation happening on the relative strength side, and yeah. So I don't like where this is going. So let's just run to Nvidia here. So Nvidia on Thursday, you can see after the earnings result, it didn't close that bad at all, right? Right in the middle range. But the problem was Friday, it couldn't follow through. Generally, after earnings result, the first day of reaction may be neutral because there's both buyers and sellers. But the next day, you want to see like more conviction comes in, and we're not seeing that, right? So I don't like where this is heading. But at the same time, we're not breaking any technical pattern here, right? We kind of at a pendant type of formation. Again, this is try to break up, but it didn't work. Sometimes I try it once or twice before it works. So we'll see if that happens. But at the same time, because this is a pendant formation, it could go either way. It could break out and go that way, or it could break down and go this way. So again, we'll have to see, right? Because there may be news that's going to affect us. We don't know what's going to come next. And we know Amazon invests in Anthropic, more money in Anthropic this week. So yeah, so the competition is definitely heating up, and we'll see. Well, that's not on the hardware side, but just in general, I know there's lots of startups in the AI area and the chip area as well. So I don't know like if those will play into the future, how it affect Nvidia or not. But definitely the numbers still look great. You can see right here. Let me go to the weekly chart to see like on the vertical format. 63% growth is still pretty strong. 84 cents versus 52 cents next quarter, and then you're still growing at pretty good pace. The revenue again, it's not going to grow in the 100% level, but you're starting to still pretty significant 35, 37, 42, 50, 46, 50. So it's still growing at a really good pace. And this chart right here on the weekly chart, you can see like, you just go through phenomenal growth here, then base quite a while, go up pretty strong, and then base and go up. This is probably the shortest base right here. Now we have this long base again, and it hasn't gone yet, but just like right here, it took a little bit of time and then it went. So we'll see if it continues. But yeah, let's look at other ones just to see how they're doing. ARM, this one is kind of on a downtrend right now. Again, just in general, a lot of chips are not showing strength at all, which is kind of interesting. So you can see even after this week's run on the market side, this one like react not as strong, right? When it came down fast, come up really slow. So not many people rush to it. Let's look at Taiwan Semiconductor. Yeah, like I given up with this stock. It just doesn't work every time. It looks good, but at the same time, it's just not moving. So that's those. So on the good side, we see software groups starting to move, and after Trump election won, you can see right here, big bounce. We pull back the previous week, and this week we rise again. Like look how fast it came back up, and we make new high on Friday. Look at the volume on the buy side. So the software are doing a lot better. Um, and yeah, so again, on the equal weight Nasdaq, we saw that it also did pretty good. So it could expand as the software group, at least based on this index here. But let's look at some big cap guys. So Microsoft is still not showing any strength at all, which is this is like really I don't like where this is heading. Um, we have a good week and look at what it does. It did nothing, right? So I don't like how the chart looked, and we are sitting near the bottom half. And then obviously, like I said, Google had bad news this week, and look at it, it broke down pretty fast, and now it's at the 200 day. So and look at Friday, it didn't bounce. Like you would think there's more sellers actually. So we'll see if it break this 200-day line, which it did right here. It could get dangerous, but we'll see. And there's also like I don't know. I don't want to say Google is not the future, but there is more competition, right? From OpenAI search and Perplexity search and so. Amazon also again underwhelming here. Like I thought it broke out, but it didn't work. I got stopped out right here. It's trading pretty tight though. I have to say, right here it's like pretty tight. But there's more. You can see the volume on the sell side is higher than the buy side. There's not much buying at all. But this is near new high, so it could still work if there's some catalyst, right? And Thanksgiving is coming up, Black Friday, so those things could help Amazon. And we have Meta. Meta, very similar chart to Microsoft. Again, fall the previous week pretty hard, and then this week it didn't really do much, right? So a lot of people say, yeah, they have made their gains this year, and they're not going to make any more gains, and it feels like this story is getting true for the mega cap. Maybe next year they could continue, but right now this year they have made a lot of gains throughout the year, so they're not showing any more strength. So Apple doing okay. Look at this, it's climbed back above the 10-week moving average, trading really tight. So this is probably the best chart of all this, right? Because it's actually moving above the 10-day and the short-term moving averages, and it's also near high. Now, no volume though. Look at that. There's no volume on either side, buying or selling. So thank you for watching this video. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. And again, stay tuned to the next video where I go through a lot of growth stocks. There's again lots of strong growth stocks doing its really good run right now. What we should pay attention to and so forth. Thank you for watching.